I'm Douglas-Osborn. I'm the CEO of Merlin Onboarding. We're a new solution which guides people and companies through any training software, using callouts, and that's how you can see on the deck here. So, why onboarding? Well, 4 years ago, I was working for Google in the UK and decided to move over here to the US. And I was expecting things to be pretty much the same, other than the accents, of course. But when I actually started the company, it was completely different sales software, different HR software, and I was very much starting from scratch. And I realized that when people started companies, I'm sure everyone here sat down at their desk and not really knowing what you were supposed to do, which software you were supposed to use, or even how you were supposed to use it, if you knew about that particular software. So the way companies try and solve this at the moment is you have onboarding days, like a day or a week, where they try and teach you everything you need to know, but most of the time people actually ask the person next to them how they do something, because they don't need that information until a couple months later. This is a big issue for companies. It's costing them a lot of money. And so the way we're planning to sort of go forward with this is our real focus is how do we decrease that ramp-up time? How do we increase that productivity so that new employees are able to add value to companies as quickly as possible? So what actually is the solution itself? It's a browser add-on, so there's no engineers, no developers needed at all. Anyone in the organization can record how to do a particular task as they do it. They just have to do it once, and we record how they did it. Then a new person is able to be taken through that application, guided through, step by step, click here, as if the person sat behind them showing them how to do it. We work with all web applications, whether you use Slack or Salesforce, and we'll even work with companies' own internal applications too. So what are the benefits? For an instructor, there's no coding, no boring LMS system to learn how to use. It's very low maintenance. We automatically fix problems as they come up for companies. We also let them download how they did that task as an HTML file that they can upload into a help center if they want. For the learners, they're learning in a real environment. This is really increasing that retention. They're immediately adding value by actually being taken through it. And there's no switching between tabs learning about the information from the help center. It's available all the time, and it's contextual to the page they're on. For the managers of the companies, there's a huge amount of data we're tracking. Every single task that they're doing, how long they took. We allow them to assign tasks out, which is really useful for as you've started a company. And then you're documenting that process. This is really important for business analysts and also consultancy firms who are able to get this information out as well. So where are we going first? Our first market is offshoring. And the reason we're doing this is because it's a huge underserved market. Most people view it as very low cost, and so most software hasn't really been built in that market. They have very repeatable work. But enterprise companies really struggle to create consistency, mainly because of the huge turnover, and that's where Merlin really adds value. Then the idea is, sort of halfway through next year, we'll actually have an enterprise solution, which will really be competing against the learning management softwares that most companies have. Now, in terms of our traction so far, we have a closed beta at the moment. We have Doctors Without Borders, one of Google's outsourcing firms, and a few startups using it at the moment. We'll be opening that up to more companies in October. In November, we expect to have paying customers, so we'll be raising a small pre-seed round. In December, we'll have a version so that you can log on to Merlin Onboarding's website and start using it and start paying it straight away. In Q2, Q3 of next year, we plan to be having more of an enterprise sort of model, and we'll be sort of ramping up our services and sales teams to support that. And in Q4, we'll have an automated version, codenamed Arthur, of course, which will actually automatically do tasks for people rather than just taking them through. Very simple pricing model. For the enterprise market, we'll be offering a number of services like converting their help centers directly into Merlin. We'll also have a solution which allows them to install it on-premise rather than just using the cloud. In terms of competition, so yes, we'll have a smaller price point than most of the competitors around, but that's not really where we're competing. Most of these solutions use a JavaScript snippet that a developer has to add onto every single website, which one has a dependency on the developer. Secondly, most web applications that you use won't let you install a third-party piece of JavaScript on your page, and that's where we're really able to offer value. On top of that, most of these solutions will break when the page changes. So if Salesforce moves a new lead button to somewhere else, most of these solutions will break for every task you've recorded. Merlin automatically detects when a page changes and uses a proprietary algorithm to automatically fix these tasks on the fly so the user doesn't even see. Who am I? I've been at Google for 9 years. I've worked in a range of different roles, built both internal and external web applications. We currently have an additional full stack developer who works with me. We'll be bringing on an additional one. And then finally, we'll be having a customer success lead to support the new customers. And that's the time. So thank you very much for having me again.
Thank you. Thank you. So, does it only work for direct A to B processes, or does it also work for processes where someone has a decision to make? For example, a customer care agent, I can either pass them on to a higher level of support, or I can try and solve the problem there with a particular solution.
No, I think it's a very good question. This is something that actually people have asked me a number of times, to have decision trees, particularly useful from a consultancy background. At the moment, we don't support that. We're really trying to make it as easy to use as possible, and having those decisions makes it a little bit more complicated. Having said that, a lot of companies have been asking us about that, so it's something we plan to add in. We're just not sure exactly what's the best way to do it without confusing users.